I'm on the phone here with JD Irwin. He's a Pursue God mentor and also the contributor of this post called Trust Your Instruments. So JD, before we get into it, why don't you just tell us about your career as a pilot?
Right out of college, I was lucky enough to be selected into the Air Force, and I got to fly. And now I fly larger commercial airplanes.
All right, so tell us non-pilots a little bit about this idea of pilots and their instruments. How does that whole thing work?
Instruments in a cockpit allow you to fly in any kind of weather, whether it's clear weather, cloudy weather, dark weather, and they keep you upright. They tell you what your airspeed is, your attitude, whether you're climbing or descending, turning, or going wings level. So it's the instruments that set you free and allow you to move about the skies no matter what the conditions. And the first thing they really tell you, though, when you're looking at those instruments is to trust your instruments. Don't trust your own self, but when you're flying on your instruments, you're staring inside the cockpit. You're not even looking out the window whatsoever, and you're taught trust your instruments and believe what they're telling you and maneuver the aircraft accordingly.
And did that ever come into play for you as a fighter pilot?
Yeah, there were a few times in the fighter world when I was flying in the weather. I used to be stationed up in the Northwest where there was a lot of weather, and many a dark night in the soup, as we'd call the weather, I would find myself flying all alone, and my head would tell me I was in a 90-degree bank, wings pointing up and down, not left and right horizontally, but the instrument said no, I was straight and level. Everything was normal, and I would really have to fight my instincts and stare at my gauges and just trust and believe in those gauges as I was maneuvering the aircraft around. And sure enough, they never failed me.
So, and you kind of had an epiphany about that as a Christian, that's kind of how it works with us, with our Bibles. Tell us about that.
Yeah, just recently, it's really dawned on me as I've gotten more and more into the Word on a regular basis, just how important the Bible is and what an instrument it is in your life and how it leads you through life in all kinds of situations, whether it's troubled times or times when you're confused or down, or even in good times. It leads you in big old issues that man has faced forever, or even new modern era issues that come up that are confusing. And it allows you to go to somewhere where that you can totally trust, and you don't have to depend on the outside world or your own instincts to figure out what's right and wrong.
Yeah, I think that's so valuable because I think our culture tells us to follow our heart and just do what we want, but that's definitely not what God's Word tells us. And you say in there in the article, not just about the storms of life, but even just in the good times. Tell us about that.
Well, I just like in my fly, every time I fly, I come back to land, and they'll say, you're clear to maneuver to a visual approach and landing, but I'm always practicing flying off the instruments, even when I'm doing these visuals for the most part, just because it just is a good habit. It's become second nature, and it becomes more natural to do so. The Proverbs 1:7 says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instructions. And it just kind of reminded me that, the beginning of knowledge, the understanding, trusting of instruments, the trusting of the Bible, the Bible is the beginning of knowledge for me, anyway. I feel like, and that for years I didn't pick it up and read it like I should, and I was a fool for despising wisdom and instruction, and I have recognized that shortcoming and have tried to make amends.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, this was a great topic. Thanks for helping us set this one up, learning how to trust our instruments.